Hello, this is Alison Normore, and I'm reading to you today from my book Return to Pangaea, Moon Rituals. A bag of drying firewood and ceremony supplies take up permanent residence in the trunk of my car. Living in a suburban neighborhood, finding a place to carry out a fire ritual without attracting attention is sometimes challenging. My first backyard fire brings the scrutiny of curious teenagers next door. I try to be discreet, leave my Peruvian rattle and feathers inside, and quietly hum to myself. Still, it obviously doesn't keep the teenagers from noticing I'm up to something. The boys hang over the fence watching my every move. What are you doing, Allison? I mumble that I'm burning old papers. While I'm committed to this path, I'm also very sensitive to others' reactions. Another neighbor wastes no time informing me of the town's fire regulations. Do you have a permit? As I consider what this could involve, I realize backyard fires are not going to work. After a while, my neighbors might lose interest in my rituals, but then I have to worry about the fire department coming to check. I need privacy. Now I'm on a mission to find a private spot for outdoor fires. After moving to southern Ontario, I realized most of the land is privately owned. The only public spaces are parks. In Newfoundland, most of the land, of the open space, is public land. One never had to go far to walk into the woods, even in a city. There are 29,000 kilometers of coastline and beaches, plenty of space to safely have a solitary fire. But I'm living in a fairly densely populated urban area, and Newfoundland is far away. That first year, I explore many possibilities. While looking for a sacred fire site closer to home, I joined a group in Ancaster, about an hour's drive away. As summer approaches, I go to an overnight camping park outside the city. I explain to the teenage park attendant, I want to have a fire, but not stay overnight. I'll only be an hour. He looks at me curiously, peering into the car. I hope he sees I'm an ordinary, middle-aged woman out to warm her hands over a fire. Nothing dangerous or illegal. Thankfully, he seems to think I'm harmless enough. He points in the direction of the lake. Stay on this road till you come to the beach. You can have a fire to the left of the swimming area. There's a sign. I follow his directions and carry my bundle of sticks and ceremony supplies to the beach. I survey the view. It's a windless night. The water is still, reflecting the sky. The wide lake spreads out in front of me. The moon is hanging full over the water, partially hidden by clouds. In the distance is the sound of traffic from a country road bordering the east side of the lake. I can hear occasional distant voices from nearby campsites and a radio faintly broadcasting what sounds like country music. I prepare my fire, dry, evenly split wood in a combination of log house and teepee style, with paper and dry leaves inside. I begin a prayer, invoking the four directions, earth and sky. It takes a few attempts to ignite the fire, which sputters at first. Perhaps the ground underneath is damp. Thankfully, I have extra newspaper and am soon rewarded with flames. Good. Shaking my rattle, I begin to quietly sing my fire song. I look up to see clouds shape-shifting into interesting forms. Glad to be here under the big open sky next to the water. I relax a bit, grateful for the space and solitude. The sound of an approaching vehicle breaks my reverie. It is driving directly towards me, its headlights bouncing over the uneven ground. The sound of rap music gets louder as the park attendant's head pops out the window. Is everything all right? He asks. His flashlight beams into my fire. My carefully cultivated sacred space bursts like a bubble. I feel angry and deflated like a chastised child. Clearly, this is not the solution. I keep looking and begin to pray more earnestly for the right location for my fires. On another full moon night, I feel an urgent call to ceremony. Full moons do that, I discover. Whatever emotions are present will be amplified, especially for sensitive types like myself. I drive around the outskirts of the city in the dark, looking for any place on the side of the road where I can have a furtive fire. I stop my car on the side of the road, walk down into the ditch and into a fenceless field bordered with trees. At the first clear space between the bushes and brambles, I hurriedly make a tiny fire, go through my invocations, blow my prayers into the tiniest stick, and place it into the flames. I never cease to be amazed at the way my prayers are answered. By the next spring, I have a new office space at the north of the city in a building owned by the Jesuits. I'm ecstatic to learn there is a designated sacred fire site on the ample 600-acre property. Finally, there is freedom and space for gatherings, and I can share the work with the many people who are beginning to express interest in these indigenous traditions. My next door neighbor, who I approach to cat sit while I attend a course, becomes a student. She eventually takes advanced training to become a shamanic practitioner, as do a number of clients during this time. I meet many who are searching for a grounded spirituality and who are drawn to ancient healing traditions. At least once a month, summer and winter, I lead small and large groups across the fields to a sacred fire site next to a rustic retreat cabin. One evening in early autumn, I create a personal prayer bundle and make my way alone at night across the field of broken corn stalks to make an offering. Coyotes frequent these fields at the edge of town, and we often hear their howls. So I feel a bit of fear, wishing too late that I had someone to accompany me. It is one of those clear velvet blue fall nights with no moon to brighten the sky above the dark alcove. Intent on the mission, I brush my anxieties aside and build the fire. When my prayers are complete and the fire blazing, I place my bundle in the midst of the flames and settle back on a log in the circle of its warmth to wait. Suddenly, out of the darkness, to my right appears a man, his pale face lit by the dancing flames. In a strong yet tentative voice, he asked, "May I join you?" Surprised to feel relatively calm at this unexpected visitor, and with only the slightest hesitation, I gesture for him to sit. We share a few quiet words. He is on retreat. Mostly, we sit in pleasant silence as the voice of the chatty fire crackles and hisses, happily dominating the conversation. When the bundle is transformed into ash, I take my leave, thanking him for his companionship. Walking back to my car, I silently thank the guardian spirits who sent him to hold the space with me.